Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz, here to talk all things round 10 with my team. But before we get into that, as always, continue to support and check us out on all our platforms, Twitter, Supercoach Insider 100 or Swiz26, and then we've got SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, and the TikTok. In particular, the YouTube, we really appreciate all your support there, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you once again to our Splash Vodka sponsor. We really appreciate their ongoing support of this channel. Last week, round 9, 21-33, and that was mainly due to the unfortunate rookie roulette situation. Mitchell, Simpson and Weddle all outscoring Chin, Cotter and Chandler, as we weren't expecting, but it always seems to work out that way. And I didn't take Oliver's 119, rolled the dice with Bont with 112, so another 7 points there, which doesn't sound much, but that's all the difference it takes to drop rankings. So 21-33, which saw me drop 400 spots back to 1494 overall. That also had a little bit to do with just making the one trade last week. So I just went one down and didn't make any upgrades. I think I was talking about that with Chris early in the week, where he seems to be one more premium ahead now. And then the unfortunate injury to Hopper. I know a few people got in the unfortunate situation with either Steele, Mills, Hopper, LDU. There was plenty of carnage last week, so hopefully you're in that situation where you avoided most of it. Setterfield's another one. So yeah, if you are in that situation, unfortunately, some of those players will need to be traded out. Not as much Jack Steele, but definitely your Hoppers, Setterfields, LDUs, which is really unfortunate for people who are trying to upgrade. And then the other ones that we're obviously looking at, and I am looking at this week, is Chandler. As much as he could be a really nice warm body through the bye period, that break even of over 100 now, we'll see him drop cash. So I'm more keen to move that on. Just the unfortunate thing is it does leave you like maybe potentially one extra rookie short. But yeah, I think he's the one to cash in this week. I know a few people are now looking at Chin Cotter. There's potential if he can get back averaging 60, there's another 50 to 80k there for him to make. The problem is he's on an extended bench and looks like getting dropped this week, so that's not good. Winning form always sees these rookies stick around. Unfortunately, the Blues are in a little slump, so I think he's the one that's going to miss out. So I can definitely understand why people are looking at trading him out. The two best rookies there are Humphrey, who's a bit more expensive, but coming off that 118 against West Coast, but then can't play West Coast every week. But his job security definitely looks good, and it's not been the problem with him. It's just the scoring. For a guy that did score a -3 in a game, I was hesitant about wanting to jump on him. He was the first guy I was looking at trading in this week, so definitely worthwhile considering, but you're not going to be getting those scores every week. But the good thing with him is he does have a great buy. He's that round 13, and with a decent job security, should see him playing throughout that buy period when we all need him. The other one who does have a good buy is Sharp. It's the first buy, but you'd hope that if he continues to play, it will be through that round 13, 14, 15 period. The question is, how is his job security with Daniel Rich on the horizon? Chris Fagan did talk about it yesterday, saying that he needs a few games in the seniors, and that will help him feel more comfortable at that level. So I think that's a little bit of confidence of picking him, and I know a few people have gone to him since then. I was definitely more tempted, and I was talking about that last night. It's an extra 80k it saves by bringing in Sharp. So for me at the moment, the first thing is with my team is about getting Canelio back into that forward line. So Chandler was the one going out. So I can definitely move him on because I know he is out of my side, and I'm not trying to sub him. See you later, Chandler. And then I'm going to make the moves around. So Canelio is coming into the forward line there. Then I'll move Wilmot into from the defence into the midfield. And then to get that extra backman, to get the extra forward in Humphrey, I'm going to send Zeeble back there. So just doing a bit of a move around and a shuffle around of my players, then selecting the forward to trade in, and I will go to most break evens. And for now, I'm going to go with Humphrey. I know I was talking very highly about Sharp last week, but I'm going to stick with my gut. Monday morning when I was doing my initial trades, that's Humphrey was the one that I wanted. So I am bringing him in there. Now, the other question is, what do I do with my second trade? Now, I'm still a little bit tempted to go double down. I don't know if that's going to leave me in a situation where I'm too far behind with premiums, but there is some sort of temptation. The big one is Darcy Cameron. So I've really just these 4 players I do want. There's Darcy Cameron, Zach Merritt, Sam Walsh, and Tom Stewart, and I definitely want all of them. Darcy Cameron, after the Blues, do play North Melbourne and West Coast, so naturally very good fixtures there. Zach Merritt, after Richmond this week, play West Coast and North Melbourne. So again, very good fixtures. So I think it's one or the other this week. Tom Stewart with that break even of 129. I'm just really hoping he just doesn't go bananas with Duncan out, and I can grab him straight after his round 13 bye, which will help my defence. My defence is pretty stacked, but I've got the ability naturally either move Zeeble, or it'll be a trade of maybe Will Day or Sheasel to Stewart to finally get him into my side there, which will naturally help the buyers. If I go to round 15, for example, with the North Melbourne players out, you see Zeeble and Sheasel there. Now, I can't move one of them into the forward line because Taranto, Rosie, and Canelio are all out that week, but I can definitely maybe do something with, say, it could be a Sheasel getting upgraded to a Stewart, or even the week before with the round 14 bye, with Will Day missing. There might be the thought that Stewart comes straight in there. It probably just depends on their break evens. So I'm definitely looking at getting him. Walsh is the harder one because he does have that round 15 bye, and we're just talking about that with the forward line. Taranto, Rosie, Canelio in my case, so it might have to be one of them gets upgraded. But it's sort of a kind of wait and see there. It might be a case of Walsh comes in after their bye. It doesn't seem to be like he's still going 115, which is a great average, and I think I definitely want him, and I think everybody should be aiming to get him. It's just I don't think he's going to peak up in price. We're at a point where he's going to price myself out. He just seems to be very steady each week, so I just got to make sure I've got the cash there to potentially get him in as maybe a last side swap after the buy period. But perfect world, I'd like you to get him in now, but there's other options there. In regards to sort of rucks, we've got the Pies missing the round 14. So if you have a look at my buy structure there, English and Marshall are both playing that week. So bringing in Darcy Cameron doesn't hurt my buy structure there for my rucks. Marshall misses round 12, so Darcy Cameron in would actually help that. And we're using Madden as a loophole, and then round 15 again with English. So with him priced, Darcy Cameron is the one I'm looking at, and that will be Jacob Hopper out this week for them. And what I'll do is Jacob Hopper gets traded out, Humphrey just goes back into that midfield, and Darcy Cameron comes and sits in the forward line. The only reason I haven't done that yet is because Darcy Cameron is still named on an extended bench, and I just want to make sure he is picked. If Darcy Cameron isn't picked, then I'll jump on Zach Merritt this week. Break even of 120, so he's only gone above that once, has scored some good scores against Richmond. 2 out of his last 3 scores have been above that, a 137 and a 150. So there is potential Merritt could go up in cash. I'd be hoping if I don't bring him in, he stays around that 120, 125 mark, and he'll be the one I'll target next week. But with Darcy Cameron and a break even of 55, he's the one I prefer right now, just because he's got the potential to go up a lot more in cash. 20k is not going to hurt me massively, but yeah, if he 20, 25k, I'd still rather not spend and just get him in this week. So yeah, Bailey Humphrey will go into that midfield. As I said last night, I was still considering Sharp and the double down, and there is potential that I may even get swayed for that. But just that Brisbane lineup, it's one of those hard ones where, yeah, Fagan has said he could potentially get games. The worry for me is that, yeah, he gets the game this week and potentially next week they have the bye, maybe plays against Hawthorn and rests, but then what happens there? And I'm really conscious about round 14 and 15. I don't want to be in that situation where Sharp's out. If I had Chincotta and Johnson and Chester all playing at the moment, and I was confident that I've got all these rookies playing, I'd probably be more leaning to them. The extra 80k would be handy, but at this point, I kind of want points on field, and that's where I was nearly tempted to just keep Chandler because he's not going anywhere during those bye periods. He looks solid. He had one bad score, can definitely reset and fire up again, but just on the way it goes with these rookies, Roberts, Constable doesn't look like playing anytime soon. It's frustrating. So I've got to kind of be mindful of that. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Vice captain is I've been on this guy all week. It's Goulden. I don't know if he can go 153 weeks in a row, but that's the call I've got at the moment. Captain will be on Marshall unless I bring in Zach Merritt. If Zach Merritt comes in, then I'm making him captain. So don't stress about Hopper being there because he is becoming either Cameron or Merritt. It's just which way I decide to go, and that we will know more about that tonight. And then Marshall is kind of the backup against Flynn. Rucks have been scoring pretty good against Flynn. Tom Green's not a bad shout either. So I've been tempted about Tom Green and Taranto as a backup, but I'm fingers crossed, confident enough Goulden should score a good enough score that it'll just be Madden, you come on the field, and Marshall, you're my emergency, and I'll be taking your score, Errol. So we'll just see how that kind of plays out, but that's where I'm sitting at the moment. And then, as I said to everyone, even last night in the Q&As, you've got to be thinking that buy structure if you are playing for overall. Otherwise, I would have just brought in, say, Libba, potentially Walsh this week, but it's just, got to make sure you've got some sort of balance, because a lot of people are in that situation with Freo, Sydney, St Kilda players in particular in round 12 there, if you where we're not really missing them, and Brisbane as well, where it's Ashcroft, it's Wilmot. I'll able to bring Neil in at round 13 as well. He should get down to 550. So there's another guy that that's covering me for round 14 and 15. So have a plan there, and that's where like your Sinclairs, your Jack Steeles are handy to be targeting come round 13. So it's just making sure you're set up so you don't get in this situation where round 15 and you having, like if I was to bring Libba in, for example, and Walsh, I'd have nobody playing that round. So just need to be very mindful of that. If you're a league player, as I've kept saying, who cares? Because just take the loss that week and try to win all other 3 rounds. So Libba, Walsh are the ones that you should definitely be targeting if you just play head-to-head leagues. And I hope that covers everything. Thank you to everybody that jumped on the Q&A last night. I'm going to try to make that regular 8 p.m. on a Thursday night, maybe just for an hour to cut it down and make it easier. But outside of that, continue to check out all our podcasts this week. Chris and Ben have put up their teams as well. Both boys are doing quite well. So hopefully, the advice that we've given you helps with that. And fingers crossed we don't run into any more carnage this week. All the best for the weekend, and we will talk soon. Bye.